Following their appointment into office as governor and deputy governor respectively, Michael Atingi-Ego and Professor Augustus Nuwagaba made an appearance before the Parliament's appointment committee, chaired by the Speaker Right Honorable Aneta Nitemo at Parliament. It should be noted that the appointment of the Central Bank Governor comes at the time when the institution deals with the needs following last year's haste in which the bank lost over 50 billion to wrong beneficiaries. Speaking to the media after vetting, newly appointed Governor Michael Atingi-Ego mentioned his interest in seeing that the issue of cybercrime is addressed in order to restore the safety of the banking system.
Certainly there are challenges going ahead, and the key one that keeps us awake is the one of cybersecurity. How do we make sure that our financial sector is cyber-proof? And so we'll have to work with all the concerned stakeholders to see how we can enforce cybersecurity guidelines in the whole financial sector. And then of course also we need to enhance our risk management frameworks, given the fact that risks and vulnerabilities are evolving by the day. So we need to keep up so that we really ensure that our systems, our operations are well protected.
With inflation being a great factor in the global economy, the substantive Bank of Uganda bosses assured the country of its stability in controlling inflation.
We have been having 3%, 3 to 3.8%. Growth was trending below 6%. But our medium-term objective is 6 to 7%. So we are kind of like allowing inflation to ease up consistent with that growth. Remember, the government objective for the inflation is 5%. So we're gradually moving towards the 5%, which is what we think will sustain growth going forward.
Uganda is one of the countries out of the 193 countries that we have, which have really worked very hard on controlling inflation. And this has been enabled by very, very strong stance, very, very strong inflationary stance. We have made sure that the central bank has made sure that they can implement monetary policy, which people may not be very much happy about. But eventually people have realized that you cannot have an economy where inflation is soaring in the roof, because nobody would have money that has meaning.
It is realized that Uganda's financial debt at GDP is low, with the economy at low way, which is not the case for Uganda's economic activities. The governors gave strategies that can be pushed, including reduced borrowing that can enable the country achieve economic stability and proper financial sector regulation.
An economy needs to be liberal and perform, and then interest rate will eventually come down. But also we said that if government can reduce borrowing, because when you borrow as government, you compete with now the private sector, and that crowds out the private sector. So that's what we agreed, that we should reduce a little bit also of our appetite for borrowing, so that we don't to compete with the private sector, and then allow the business activity and everybody to perform.
In the global economy, there are lots of uncertainties that are unfolding, which are going to have impact on the domestic economy. So we have to be innovative. We have to be able to anticipate what's going to happen and take the proper policy response to mitigate any possible adverse consequences for us.
Governor Michael Atingi-Ego had been deputizing the role since March 2020 when he was appointed, and his full occupancy of the central bank head comes 3 years after the death of former governor Emmanuel Tumusime Mutebile. Professor Augustus Nuwagaba, on the other hand, is a renowned economist and consultant on economic transformation, coming in with expertise beneficial to the central bank's leadership team.